Kia ora tātou, and thank you for hearing our submission from the Spreydon Cashmere Community Board. I'd like to say that we agree broadly with the proposal to have fewer community boards and share, and for the other community boards to have 3 wards in them. We have found it very difficult this last 5-6 years being only a 2-ward community board, and we have felt that we've missed several opportunities to use our skills to its fullest extent and to represent the people that we used to advocate for that disappeared. We, the Spreydon Cashmere Community Board, believe that we should be incorporating Horswell and not Heskett. We have very little in common with the suburbs of Sumner and Redcliffs, and have very little knowledge of the issues that face them, which are obviously extremely serious, and where they could do with some historical representation that understands those issues, that confront the beach suburbs, overwhelming issues that confront the beach suburbs. And our interest lies, and has always done, in the southwest of Christchurch. When the commissioners developed the Southwest Area Plan, we were on the bus, literally on the bus, touring Southwest Christchurch, because that's our area of interest and understanding. And we continue to be Southwest Christchurch, and including and especially with traffic issues that extend from the new suburbs of Horswell through to our suburbs in Addington and Waltham and so on, because that's where the traffic goes. It comes down Lincoln Road and down Cashmere Road, to the detriment of both roads actually, but they really don't have access to Brougham, and those are the roads that are coming to our ward. And we think that that's our area of confrontation and our area of interest. We also share hills and river, we share the topography, we share the schools, we share the sports clubs, we share key activity centres such as libraries, Barrington Mall, the Horswell supermarket and shops, Ngāpunawai, Horswell Quarry, and of course the Port Hills. We share the traffic issues as I have mentioned, and we have some specific issues that I'd like to raise as well. The incorporation of the suburbs of Waltham and Sydenham and a unified Hoonhay and Hill Morton is history. We used to represent those areas. We lost them in the last representation review. These are poorer, older suburbs of Christchurch that historically have always linked in with Addington and the suburbs that we represent, and for them to revert back to our boundaries would be history restoring them to the connections and suburbs that they know. Then similarly, Waltham and St Martin's, Opawa and Opawa all share the same supermarkets and bumping spaces, including the outdoor swimming pool. Losing the Warren Crescent area of Hoonhay going to Riccarton is really daft. You shouldn't always phrase it like that, but it truly is daft. Between Warren Crescent, which is part of Hoonhay but is now called Hill Morton, but was traditionally part of Hoonhay, they face Hoonhay. They go to the Hoonhay shops, which is just across the road. The Warren Crescent area does not even have a dairy in it. And at the back of it is Ngāpunawai and the AMP Showgrounds and Curlitz Road. They have absolutely no connection with Riccarton whatsoever. They face the Horswell shops, they face the Hoonhay shops and sports grounds, and they go to those schools. That is their connection. And so in particular, that area going to Riccarton is not logical in any way. So the community board believes that we should be connected to Horswell and those new suburbs arising there, which is putting the pressure on the current Horswell suburb, and it putting the traffic pressure on that reverberates through to our suburbs, and not go to Heskett with the beach suburbs of Sumner and Redcliffs, to which we've had no connection at all in all the years that I've been on the board. Thank you.
Sarah.
Thanks so much for that, Karolin. A couple of points. Firstly, you mentioned that your community board had little connection to that sort of Sumner Bays area.
Yeah.
And do you think that that connection to the board would come through the elected representatives from that ward once they joined your board?
Of course.
Yeah. And then the other one is the connection. You've mentioned the key connection through to the Horswell ward with the Port Hills and Brougham Street and the river. Those things also are in the Heathcote ward, so the Port Hills.
And Cashmere Road.
Yeah, but the river flows right through into the Heathcote ward as well, and Brougham Street finishes in the middle of the Heathcote ward, and all of the traffic issues around there are also shared by that ward, as are all the issues of pest free and that sort of stuff on the hills.
But the traffic push issue is coming from Horswell. That's where the new developments are. That's where the traffic's coming. That's where our schools are servicing that area, and our shops and servicing that area as well.
Yeah, and that push then comes through down into the Heathcote ward. So there are connections all the way through. Thanks.
Any other questions? Yanni?
Thank you. Looking at the the proposal, do you think there's adequate assessment of the community board changes? Like, do you see clear rationale for what's being proposed in terms of the community boards being the ones being disestablished, or the one being disestablished, the new ones being created from the report?
It's very difficult to me to make a judgment. They're doing the mesh block system does demand that, though I think insufficient notice has been taken of the new development south of Horswell. It's going to continue to grow. I think the pressure is coming from there, and that's where one of the reasons why our board thinks that we should be connecting through. But it is difficult to ignore the communities of interest that we have sustained over all these years, and they are all southwest Christchurch. And that's where the interest of the board that I'm currently on lies, and that's where their understanding and knowledge lies as well.
Yeah. And have you seen these kind of coloured things? And I mean, if you looked at Banks Peninsula, for example, you could see a lot of people in Mount Pleasant, Sumner seem to identify with the peninsula rather than with your board.
The retreat from the beach issues, the climate change issues would indicate to me that the beach suburbs would be better off connected some way together, or linked in some way together, because they have all of these issues for the next 20 years in front of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's a very challenging set of issues, and I mean but thank you very much for your submission.
I'm sure at 90 I'll be handling them terribly well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so that's the conclusion of the community board submissions. So we'll stop for morning tea, and if we could be